So we've just left Shelter Cove, just 10 before 1. We got in yesterday evening, or afternoon, 4:30. Plenty of time to get a burger and fries, a few beers, and I ended up eating, I think, 500 mils of Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream as well. Got in a quick shower, 5 minutes for $2. They supply towels and everything, which is good. And then after dinner, three of us threw in all our laundry together. Did our laundry. So by the time we'd got to bed last night, kind of late, 10 o'clock, we'd been having a few beers, relaxing, charging our devices. I had a tent with tables set up for PCTs, a hiker box, which is where people put their extras, so you can scrounge through there and find food. And got up this morning, had a nice big breakfast. Got my package that I'd sent here, brand new shoes, resupply, and then a couple of us went round, were picked up by the driver from the company that's the other end of the lake, and I went to buy a new filter, which they didn't have. They had a bottle with a filter in it, didn't work, so I got more chlorine tablets, and I'll be fine till I hit Sisters and get back to Bend and go to REI. So we all set off, about 10 to 1. We're going to make, I think it's about 9.5 miles to a cabin, and yeah, we're all ready to go. Feeling cleaner, although already sweaty. We're on a nice trail. The blue signs, if you've seen them, are for cross-country skiing, so it's a nice wide trail because they use it in winter. All right, I'm gonna get going. We've hit the first lake and we've all decided to go in, so 2 boys are already in. I'm about to jump in now. Well, it's day 124, 25, sorry. I don't think I didn't do a video for yesterday. We came out of Shelter Cove after an easy morning, had breakfast there. We were just going to make 10 miles to a cabin, which is where we slept last night, where I had a swim in the first beautiful lake, which was great. We all enjoyed it. It was kind of an easy afternoon, but I've got some issue with my right leg, lower leg. It was swollen and kind of rather sore. At first I thought it was just anterior, tibialis anterior. I might have strained it, or maybe at the start of shin splints, but it was actually kind of red yesterday morning, rather red. Magellan used to be a nurse practitioner, so she was assessing it, and we were a little worried because it was hot and kind of painful. She was worried that it wasn't just musculoskeletal, and thought it was on the top of the foot as well as up the leg, so it was worse once I got to cabin last night, and we kind of made the decision that if it is something like cellulosis, it's better that I go off trail, because I'd be 4 days basically in the wilderness. So I'm heading back to the trailhead. I'm going to try and make a couple of calls when I get service, see if someone can pick me up, head back to Bend, and get checked out, she suggested that I start an antibiotic, which she had with her, and so I've got a day and a half of antibiotics. So hopefully I can get to a Bend today and then to a critical care clinic tomorrow, and if it's getting better, then continue with the medication. So I'll keep you informed. I've got in contact with my friends in Bend, Jackie and Mark, and Jackie's currently on her way to pick me up down at the highway at the trailhead, and so I'm just retrieving my steps from yesterday. So I'm heading back down to the main highway which we crossed yesterday, and I got to kind of hurry. She'll be there, I think, maybe a little before I get there. So anyway, this was the lake that we swam in yesterday after climbing up the hill out of Shelter Cove. So a whole bunch of big ducks. They could be loons on the river, on the lake. Anyway, I've got to keep moving because I think I'm not going to arrive until after she's there. So I've still got about 2.5 to 3 miles to go. So anyway, there's those ducks. Oops, there they are. Beautiful. Good morning. So I've been off trail for it's 7 days, I think, today. I'm going to probably get back on trail this afternoon. My leg is not 100% better, but it's seems to be at a bit of a slow improvement at the moment. I've been off trail for 7 days with medication, so there's only 3 more days left. But I was out yesterday all day cycling around and walking around, and it actually felt very good pretty much the whole day. So I didn't find any issues with it. So I thought I'd mention or talk to you about some of the things some of the terms and whatnot about the trail. So first of all, I thought I'd talk about trail angels. So trail angels are people that just either in the specific towns along the trail, or people that just like to help out that are, relatively close. For instance, the friends that I'm staying at, you could consider them trail angels. They've hosted a few people off trail a few times. They are also hiking the trail, and so they sort of, it's one of the things that people do if they've hiked the trail, is they try to give back, and so they work as trail angels. Trail angels can be someone that just gives you a ride from the trail or back to the trail. They could be someone that hosts you at home. Trail angels sometimes bring you things to the trail. If you put a call out, there are different trail angel groups that if you put a message on the group, someone will put their hand up and try to help you. Trail angels also, for instance, there's a trail angel called Devilfish. He's the one that puts a lot of the water caches out. There are sections of the trail that are sometimes 20 miles, 30 miles, even 40 miles. So, 32 kilometers, 48 kilometers, for instance, with no water. And so that's an awfully long water carry, which most people can't do in a day. You've got to do a couple of days to get those distances, and so it makes it very difficult, especially on dry years. So there are these people that put water caches out. Devilfish, for instance, he puts a couple of water caches out in Southern California, and he's got at least 3 here in Oregon. He's quite amazing because he lives on the East Coast and comes over every year for about 3 months, and puts water caches out. One of them, he even puts external battery packs, so people sit there at the water cache. For instance, we were there at lunch, and people use the battery packs to charge their devices and whatnot.
Devilfish also drives people around. They contact him and he'll pick them up off the trail and take them in. So a young fella called Bambi had an ankle problem. He brought him into town, stayed at his house, and gave him a few days to recover from an ankle injury and took him back to trail. So trail angels also do things called trail magic. So sometimes there are specific places along the trail, such as trailheads or road crossings, where trail angels will basically bring all sorts of different food, and they'll sit themselves there maybe for the day. One spot they were there for 3 days, just not far from here. Last year there was some guys that basically set up at a specific spot for a couple of weeks over the summer and feed everyone that comes in with all sorts of stuff. Occasionally it's just an esky or a cooler, and there'll be maybe some beers in it or some soft drink, maybe a little bit of food with ice in it, and generally it's cold. Sometimes it's not, but all is welcome. Occasionally there's even just a box sitting at the trail with beer in it, even warm beer, but a lot of people are they're so happy just to get something. So also mostly on the trail, so that's a trail angel, so we call them TAs. There's also so on the trail, basically you need to do all your estimations about, basically it's all about water. So we are constantly looking at our app, which is far out, and it tells us where water is. We can click on the water icon, and people leave messages to say whether the water is flowing or not, whether there's water there in a pond, it's clear, how far it is to get to the pond if it's off trail, and things like that. They also usually tell you whether there's camping spots. So it's extremely helpful, makes it very, very easy to do the trail. You generally, the estimate is you need 1 litre per 4 miles. So you're constantly working out how far to the next water source, how many litres do I need, and so you're really just going from water source to water source. In late in the day, so if you figure out where you're gonna camp, you usually try and figure out whether there's water near the camp or at the camp. And so if there's no water at the camp, you call it dry camping. And so you've got to fill up with usually at least 3 litres of water before you get to camp. So you've got enough to cook dinner that night, cook breakfast, coffee, whatever in the morning, and then at least 1 litre to get to the next water source the next morning. So yeah, everything's about water on the trail. People also leave messages on far out that tell you whether there's lots of mosquitoes, whether the hiking is difficult. So for instance, there's sections that are just walking through lava zones or lava rocks really, and it's just hot sections. You want to try and do them in the morning if you can. What else? And that's basically how we sort of navigate our way through. I'm at the moment been doing roughly about 20-mile days, so it's 32 kilometers. People generally build up. People that have come through already, that have gone right from the border through to Oregon, a lot of them are doing 30 plus miles a day. So it's huge distances. A lot of them are getting up at 4 in the morning, just walking all day, very few breaks to get their 30, 35 miles. I met a lady who'd done 39 miles, and she was getting up at 4 a.m. the next morning to get going. So they kind of at this point, they start getting what they call border fever, which means they're trying to get to the border as fast as possible. And some of them lose sight of why they're here besides just finishing the trail. So yeah, anyway, some other terms. So when you camp, about 8:30 is roughly what we term hiker midnight. So by 8:30, everyone's crashing basically to get enough sleep to be up by. A lot of people get up around 5, so 4, 5, maybe 6 in the morning to get going. Yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, so they're just some of the basic terms that we talk about and you deal with. So, you filter water everywhere you go. Filtering is the most important thing. I'd lost my filter, can't figure out where around Crater Lake, and so I usually carry chemical treatments, so I chemically treated most of the time until I got here into Bend, occasionally borrowing someone's filter if I was at the same place as a bunch of people, but so it's your lifeline. You've got to filter, otherwise you can pick up Giardia or something along the trail. So but it's a pretty amazing network, and anyway, that's just some of the main stuff. So anyway, I'll be back on the trail hopefully this afternoon to, I'm not sure, maybe 6, 8, maybe 10 miles. I've looked at there's a couple of water sources along that section, and trying to get to the Washington border in about a week or 8 days or so, and then hopefully getting up to that last section in Washington and meeting up with my friends. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you a little bit of information, tell you I'm going to get back on the trail, and yeah, we'll see some more pictures after that.